I've lived in this place a long time. It's the perfect town for me, a university town, full up with sweet tarts and beefcake. Nobody notices me because the crowds are big enough for me to blend in. There are thousands of kids, children from all over, many of whom I resemble, almost all of them little more than fatted calves, full of daddy's money and blue blood. Myriad support systems are available for everything and everyone now in this little old southern cow town. There are the arts, movies, culture, sports, lots of sports. You're familiar with that song, "We Built This City on Rock and Roll," aren't you? Well, it's the same thing, only athletics is what built this place, trust me. Museums, bars, naturally, coffee shops, clubs. The boutiques catering to those sweet little college girls come and go like seasonal flowers. Some stand the test of time, some don't. Just like those girls. There's nothing more monstrous than a cheerleader in the autumn of her life, unless, of course, she has married well. Nobody notices me, and I like that. When I go into the town itself, into the markets, the ubiquitous chains like Barnes and Noble, I go at odd hours so nobody sees me. Nobody sees a pattern. If you look for me, 9 times out of 10, I'm not there. I always dress the same. I maintain a grey exterior, grey like an overcast sky, and who notices that? Grey sweatshirts, grey t-shirts, or to switch it up and throw anyone on a possible trail off said trail, dark shirts and black jeans, a long scarf, a shapeless coat, a hoodie. I look like anybody else. My hair isn't long, it isn't short. I don't wear anything on my white face that could be considered makeup. Don't do anything that would attract real attention. That's what I'm not about. Attention. But sometimes, no matter how I give it the old college try, it's depressingly unavoidable. I've lived in this place long enough that when certain older people see me, we recognize each other. It's inevitable. I see their fading eyes on me, recognition close to dawning in their now ruined faces. Then I can practically hear their internal conversations come to the proverbial arse-grinding halt as they tell themselves and then each other that I simply look familiar. I sense the palpitations as they convince themselves that I'm a member of some family that's lived here forever and ever, the family that's always been here, always will be here. Someone from church, from the shops, from the neighbourhood. And as they turn away from me, I feel their sadness, even as they talk themselves off that ledge, as they ignore that tingling of the spine, that first deeper whisper, the old, "What's wrong with this picture?" Of course they know me. They've been here all their lives, and so have I. So have I. I've been here all their lives too, but that very thing is often my salvation. Who? Who? I can always feel their confusion. Hell, I can see it as they try not to stare. But they don't always manage that courtesy as their floundering mental state jacks up their blood pressure. That can't be her. Must be a relative. She's a type. She just looks like her. Oh yes, her. Her being me. That long-ago sweaty fumble in an alley between bars. That first experience in a dimly lit dorm room. That little experiment in the sorority house, that one-night stand, that spark of attraction that didn't seem to go anywhere, a date they can't quite remember. Or, if the fog of a memory rolls back in, they manage to convince themselves it's not real, it's a false memory, a messed-up memory. It was the alcohol, it was the drugs, it was something else. It wasn't me, and I'm not her. I couldn't be, they tell themselves, they tell each other. Otherwise, they would soon find themselves staring into that abyss Nietzsche warned them about so long ago in some long-dead professor's class. Only it wouldn't be the abyss staring back into them. It would be me, ready to finish what I began so long ago, ready to drain any one of them dry if only to relieve them from the rising gorge of horror that something unspeakable once held them in its arms, once clutched them in a bone-dry embrace. Something wrapped its limbs around their supple, smooth warmth to top off its own cooling cup of existence. And that something was me. Odd, isn't it? People yakety-yak about immortality like it's a given for those like me, whatever I am. Some say only gods and monsters are immortal, and then only as long as they have followers. Here's the this about that. You can forget religion, and you might as well forget philosophy too. Immortality isn't what it's cracked up to be. God or monster, you have to work damned hard to stay in this gossamered condition, a state of being that withstands the equally eternal threat of exposure and destruction. Because, surprise, sugar pies, I could die, just like anyone else. I could die in a car wreck. But I doubt that I will. I could die in a fire. That's probably an even bigger not going to happen, but I'm not keeping score. I could be decapitated or even staked by some lucky bastard who so far is not even a blip on anyone's radar. If you can see your monsters on Svengoolie, why look for them anywhere else? That would take real work. After all, I don't really exist. Rather, what I am, whatever that is, doesn't. Yet here I am. I don't get lonely. I don't boo fucking who over anything. I don't have regrets. I don't form bonds with others of my ilk, and what a stupid word that is. Because if there were someone of my ilk around here, that ilk wouldn't last long, trust me. Territorial disputes would take care of that. Like an Old Testament God, I will allow no others before me. And trust me when I tell you that I have found it necessary to go that God one better. I allow no others around me at all. Plus, I don't need to keep people on a chain to take care of me, unless by taking care of me you mean they feed me. I don't worry about anything but assuaging my hunger. That's what I live for. That's what I am really about. That's what I tend to on a daily basis. My hunger. Better than scratching what some call a terrifying itch. Better than sex. Better than chocolate. Appeasing that sensation, and then resting only to rise again to satisfy that eternal emptiness, and resting once more before the next onslaught crashes down on me, is my life. Ad infinitum. Do I regret it? No. Do I hate this, whatever I am? No. Why would I? I'm having a wonderful time. Dogs do not fear me. They don't try to stop me or warn others of my presence or the dangers I trail in my wake. If anything, they love me because they know I love them. Cats ignore me, but that's always been the case. If you don't feed them, you don't matter. You barely exist. How I understand that little truth. Survival, baby. Garlic does not stop me. No matter how many times that story is spun, garlic does not stop me. And not only does the sun not stop me, I cast a reflection and I cast a shadow. If I want something, I smile, and before anyone can say no, before a single question is posited, before anyone's head clears, it's mine. If I want to go into someone's home, I don't have to wait for an invitation. I break in just like any other thief. I float through the rooms like I belong, like I have the right to be there. It's a given, like the air, like the temperature, the fine, or shabby furniture. If I show up while they're there and awake and they do invite me in, fine. Like I said, I look familiar to them. Where do I know her from? That girl from that family? But I sidestep human interaction wherever possible. Can you blame me? Because people are messy. They're nasty, full of conflict and confusion, brimming with the pus of manufactured melodrama which twists into very real problems for everyone involved. Humans drain me as much as I drain them, if you know what I mean. And I think you do. What do I do with the bodies? There are no bodies, sugar pie. How do you think this really works? Come closer. I'll be happy to show you.